raise any problems, tell how it works for you. I mean, PyCharm, Dataspell, like any IDEs. So what's missing? What's the biggest problem? Because I personally, I'm a customer success, and I'm working with the big companies. We are trying to solve sometimes the problems related to, for example, long startup because of because of indexing, for example. So if project is very big, so indexing could be a problem. And we have a solution for that, so like a shared indexes or something like that. We also have sometimes problems with IDE setup because a lot of people in the team, they can have a requirement, like, sometimes they have a list of the things they need to do before start working. So that's also complicated stuff, and we are kind of solving this right now. So that's where I'm expert, just sharing. And we're also working on remote development. That's also I can discuss. So I mean, it could be interesting topic as well. So that's what I have. So let's start from questions. Any of you? Yeah. So please.
When I open up a little bigger solution, it uses 100 KPU.
What uses?
When I open up a little more bigger solution,
okay,
PyCharm uses 100% of KPU.
Yeah, okay.
And how to solve it? Because with all other solutions it's okay, but with that it's only text. It is not connected to anything, to the repositories or something. I just open up the solution and it uses 100.
And how do you feel? I mean, so how do you feel this 100%? Is it like freezing sometimes or time?
Yes. And Task Manager shows PyCharm uses 100% of KPU. Also, it says that something is with memory. If you want to generate a report of memory, I generate there some files which are using some RAM, but I just close up that report and that's it.
Okay. And how many of you have performance problems with PyCharm? No? You as well? Is it also for
my problem is about indexing? Like every time you update something, it's re-indexing and it's very slow. Not a very big problem, but still.
Okay, yeah, but not else. Okay. So I'll definitely talk because again I'm also working with big projects and we are trying to solve performance problems. I think additionally we can discuss this, so we can share the contacts. Yeah.
My question, we ask here a question that already have a page on issue tracker, or I just watch.
You mean indexing?
No, I have another problem with M1 MacBook.
Okay.
After one of the OS updates, PyCharm starts flickering. There is already an issue on issue tracker, but it's like already 1/2 of year. It's still flickering, so I'm not sure that if you're working on it.
Is M1, so what's blinking or what?
Yes, flickering of screen.
Okay.
Like, yes.
Екатерина, do you know this problem on the
Yes, this problem unfortunately has been appearing and disappearing for some users for quite a while already, and developers are doing their best to solve it, but every now and then a user has this issue, so this is kind of hard to reproduce for us because it appears for not the majority of users, but only for some of them.
Okay.
But we are still working on it. It is a big work in progress.
So how reproducible is for you? Like 100%?
It's just random. Sometimes like once in 5 minutes, it just flickers, and it's especially at a dark theme at night. It is very like I don't know. Maybe or it's very annoying at night.
Yeah, I feel that. It's probably,
I feel you. This is very annoying indeed, and this is also how it appears for other users who experience it with the newer macOS in it. I think it only happens to macOS, but I'm not sure.
Since it happens, I have two MacBooks, one of this Intel, one with M1. It's only with M1 and only after one update of macOS. Before it wasn't happening.
yeah. And one, of course, is preferred. I mean, I'm second day not connecting to the charger for the laptop. I mean, this is so good. I mean, it's just an advertisement of Apple. Anyway, yeah. So I can imagine how it's annoying. I mean, like photographing here on this conference is also very annoying when he comes and starts flickering. I mean, it's probably the same feeling. Yeah. Okay. We will collect your requests. Any more? I mean,
I have a question.
yeah, please.
A few versions ago, I noticed that you have new UI in
Yes.
PyCharm.
We still have it.
What plans do you have to the UI and will alt UI disappear?
Will all UI I think not at least now, but Ekaterina, what do you think?
I think generally new UI is perceived as the future of the IntelliJ ideas, so it's promoted as the next generation UI, but however, it's still the option to switch to the old one will still be there as far as I know.
I think there is no decision, I would say. I mean, that we will look on how many people will adopt the new UI, what the feedback will be about that. So right now, what I know compared to the like two releases ago, feedback is relatively positive. I mean, like two.
Really?
Do you feel opposite?
Yes.
Okay.
Because it's disgusting, a lot of bugs.
Yeah, that's definitely true. That's why it's. But when you tried like two releases, not now?
I tried it months ago.
Okay.
I used it 30 minutes maybe, and I switched to the old UI. And I tried to switch to the new UI a week ago. I have been using it, but I still don't like it.
Yeah.
I have feedback about new UI. I in general like it, but I don't like that icons on the left. For example, you cannot do that. They hide when you don't use them, as you could do in old UI. So my feedback about new UI that it's not full screen enough. Too many buttons always visible.
Too many buttons, so it's and it's not going to.
Not out to hide that button.
Yeah, that's a great feedback. Yeah, thank you. And who else tried the new UI stuff? So.
I might be possible, but in recent updates you added like scalability for your UI, right? Because in first interaction it looks like it's much, it's more scale than let's say legacy one.
You mean bigger icons?
Yeah.
Okay.
Tabs become more bigger and so on. And when you work on laptops, it's say.
Too much space.
Yeah, too much space, and that seems to be.
Yeah, I have a small comment on,
Yes.
on that. I wanted to say that and this is what we were noticing as well, and the work on scaling up and down the icons and the UI in general is also being done and it is in development currently. So you should be able to see that to have the ability to scale it down. This is indeed, I feel you.
Yeah.
And I have another question, not like it went like a question, how do you decide what features go to free users and what to left on pro? How can users affect that, maybe some voting or something like that?
And what's preferred place for features? Free?
I use free version at
Okay.
home, but some features that in pro version that I use on board may be very useful.
Which kind of features?
What I like is like profiling
Okay.
and remote Python interpreter. The most used features that I would be happy to see in free version, but I
Yeah, PyCharm become a free version at all.
Yeah, that's. I mean, yesterday, for example, that there was a lightning talk from the guy from open source community. Probably we should consult with him so he can turn our business model into the open source somehow. But I don't know how to do that. So I mean, it's complicated question, tricky, and that's actually the idea of features to being in paid version, to try kind of encourage you to actually pay for paid version. So yeah, that's. I mean, definitely we prefer to put features which are mostly needed by business. So I mean, for professional usage, to professional version, and for free version, mostly. It should be possible to do educational projects or something like that. So that's the whole idea. So I mean, if you do money from Python programming, why not to pay, or even to ask your company to pay for it? So that's more or less like that.
So you decided internally like some marketing use?
Yes. So I mean, like
we
some
cannot attack them.
business decision. Yeah, it's hard to ask about such question to users, because if it's something which users want, they will definitely vote for free edition. So I mean, that's probably not a great way to decide on that. So yeah, this is complicated. Yeah, and that's true. And for example, for us, it's hard to compete against free IDEs because. I mean, it's like competition of business models. So now we have like a different business model, and PyCharm have like freemium, or how it's called, like business model. But probably it's true that it could be like all-time business models, like when people sold desktop applications. So probably it's time for JetBrains to change. But again, it's a decision for the high-level management. So it's very hard decision, because we can lose everything. I mean, all the revenue. I mean, if you do a free version in exchange for something, but this something doesn't work, then you lose everything, and your business stops. So it's very risky and complicated. But I agree that probably business model could be changed. That's true. More questions? You want.
Our company uses Windows laptops, and when you're using PyCharm Pro and you switch from one project to another, a box comes up and says you need to tick something because Windows Defender
Could slow down. Yeah.
Well, I don't know if that's to do with indexing, but the IT don't allow us to sort of say, have this folder, so things that are ignored.
So
It's a problem. It will pop up every time I change from one project to another. It'll say Windows Defender.
I mean, it's kind of annoying because you already know that, and you know that. Okay, yeah, that's actually interesting feedback.
Even though if you press on the help, it sends you to the JetBrains website and explains what to do. I can't because of IT blocking things.
Okay. I mean, you have kind of whitelist web pages. Okay, that's complicated. Okay, we collected this. So you're ready to show something?
You can show, but I don't know what to say about the Jupyter
You can just show at least. I mean, just to have some performance for you. I mean, for something interesting as well.
Maybe I have another question.
Yeah, of course.
In the Pro PyCharm version, you have like some kind of remote idea. So you run all the computations on some server and you see only the interface on your laptop.
Yes.
It's very interesting feature, especially considering that such combination may be used, for example, with iPad with some server. So the question is, do you plan to move for mobile devices to work with that combination, some server to use some mobile device?
Yeah, right now we don't have such plans because it means that we need to develop the whole UI for iPad. So how it works? So on the remote server, we are running remote PyCharm, and then locally we are running, very cut version of it. It could be PyCharm as well, or cut version which calls Gateway. And it's UI which is written in Java. I mean, I don't know if it's fine to say this word on Python conference. But yeah, it's not movable to mobile devices. That's simple. So it means that for mobile devices, we will need to completely write. So we have a protocol, yeah, of course. We can do this discussion with client server stuff. That's probably simple, but writing the whole UI, it will take more than a year, I think. So it's a very complicated decision, would be, in general. And we are not sure that it's a good business decision. So in general, right now, laptops, so the same laptops which you use for PyCharm will go for. Oh, we started to show something. Okay.
This is data spell IDE. Do you know?
Anybody use data spell?
Anybody know?
Data what?
Data spell.
No.
It's data science edition, like data science edition of PyCharm, but it's a separate IDE. So it supported Jupyter notebooks.
Literally, you can kind of have a PyCharm completion and code inside an editor, and like for your Jupyter, you Python notebooks.
Can I ask, what are the advantages of data spell when the same thing is integrated into PyCharm?
I think one of the ideas is that it's simpler interface. So
it's more lighter interface and it's more lighter IDE, so it's focused only on data science. I think maybe in further it will be a little different from PyCharm edition, PyCharm data science edition, but I don't know what Kate can tell us about it.
Ekaterina, do you have additional opinion about why? What is that? Is data spell for? But this is available in PyCharm as well. So I mean, if you don't know, anybody tried to use it?
Yes.
Okay. So what do you think about this feature?
It's good, but sometimes it becomes very slow.
Slow?
Yeah. I'm not sure if that's because when you load the projects or your folders, if you load too many, something's happening.
Okay.
So
Probably will need
But in
your
general,
contact
it's
also
nice
for
to
feedback.
have everything in one place.
Hmm?
But in general, it's nice to have everything in one place. You know, keep tabbing on something.
Okay. Yeah.
I used it maybe 1.5 years ago, and I noticed that there wasn't available applications that were familiar for me when I used Jupyter, and I think it was a problem.
You mean what you use in, for example, you Python Labs?
Control Enter, Alt Enter.
Okay.
Now it works.
No, it works. Okay. Thank you.
All usually used shortcuts work.
No, maybe behavior hotkeys were available, but behavior was
Pretty different maybe.
different.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
It was improved by these 2 years. That's improved a lot, I think.
But how many of you in general using Jupyter? I mean,
From time to time.
from time to time. Okay. So I mean, it's not that you were not aware, so you just don't use Jupyter as well. So okay, this is fine.
I can tell from the moment then when I realized that PyCharm supports Jupyter, I stopped using Jupyter directly and always use PyCharm.
Okay. And so, do you feel more productive or kind of inside of PyCharm?
I would say yes.
Okay, cool.
I'd say it's nice because it has code completion as well, compared to what you can't do in the Jupyter Notebook or Jupyter Lab. And also you can connect to databases as well and check
Yeah.
things in there, which is quite nice.
So who else using database connections? Yeah. Cool. Okay. Probably you have, this is like popular framework, Jupyter. Do you have any frameworks which you usually use, and probably you have an interface in browser, for example, but it could be somehow integrated into PyCharm. It's just not integrated. Do you have such ideas, requests on that?
ChatGPT?
Yeah, it's on the way. In some way, I just don't know in which direction, but it will definitely be something.
An extension for merge requests.
Extension to merge requests from.
Pull request, merge request, so there is an extension outside of the channel, but it's not very convenient, so maybe it should be how it's somehow great.
GitLab and GitHub.
What I know is GitLab support is on the way. GitHub, I think it's available. I mean, to merge, or you mean it's not convenient UX or something?
Yeah, I use GitLab.
But GitLab is on the way, on par with GitHub. So, Ekaterina, do you know if it's released or not, or it's next to release something? GitLab support.
I don't have it in my head right now. I won't promise, but I've heard that it is going to be soon, but when, I don't know.
So we will be able to review requests using.
Yes.
Cool.
Similar level of support like GitHub has. Yeah. Okay. We have 1 minute. Yeah.
Yeah, one more question maybe it's not really about the PyCharm, but I'd like to use breakfast. Maybe you plan to add some extensions for Raycast, just to switch in the window or to open the right project and so on. So
Right cast.
Raycast is the app that is like Spotlight for MacBook.
Okay.
But it has its own extension. There is one extension for JetBrains toolbox, but it's not really very useful.
Okay.
It's just the type of apps that really boosts your productivity. You could just
I think that I probably need to try for myself. I mean, it sounds interesting.
Great.
Yeah, so I will take a look and we will share the feedback with the team, of course. Yeah, I don't know how useful this session was, at least. But yeah, I'm pretty impressed how many of you came here, and yeah, if you have more questions, I'm still here, and yeah, I also yeah.
I have another question, but please finish.
Yeah, we also can share contacts, so I can give you contact, or if for more complicated question we can have. So for example, with bigger projects, I can have calls. We also can invite support team to investigate problems. So we are kind of trying to be open for solving, because yeah, it's kind of new for JetBrains by doing this stuff, to become closer to customers and trying to solve bigger scale problems, like when for example 100 users do work on same project, they sometimes have a similar problem, they need some help. So that's I would be really glad to help in this direction. Yeah.
Yeah. Is there a reason why in the debug modus I can't see my polars data frame?
So that's a problem for you, Ekaterina. In debug frame, not seeing polars data.
I mean, I see that the variable is there, but when I click on it to show it, to see what's happening in there, I have an empty screen, basically.
Is this when you look at variables or when you're looking at the data frame?
When I try to show it as a data frame.
Yeah, I've got that problem as well.
Yeah. So basically, my workaround about that is to modify it into a pandas data frame, but it's not a good solution, I think.
I'll have to check if it already is a known issue. I think we had some problems with it before. Maybe they got reproduced recently again. Or if you have a particular case that you want to mention, maybe that would help.
Yeah, and yesterday I changed contacts with Richie, so
you will be working together to show us our data frames.
Yes, no, not just this. Probably.
Yeah.
I mean, more complicated polar support. So let's see how it could work. So I don't know. I mean. Yeah.
I have a PyCharm issue. When I use it on external monitor connected to my notebook or laptop, the PyCharm window starts to jump in between screens very quickly, and I can work with it.
The same issue.
It appears when I lock my screen and return to work. I unlock my screen and PyCharm starts to jump in between monitors.
Yeah, I have the same issue. Then I open the search everywhere window, and it opens on another screen, and PyCharm is or the MacBook is trying to refocus on that window, and later on it tries to refocus on the previous window, and it's becoming in a loop, and you get it that.
Okay.
Unless you click an escape button and that pop up for search everywhere disappears, and you. But it happens only in the full screen, when you click yes MacBook, that green button to make a full screen app.
Yeah. Okay. Do you know the issue, Tina?
Yeah, stumbled upon this. I think it started occurring just recently in not only in PyCharm but across the IntelliJ IDEs. And I think some work is being done to improve this behavior. However, it is hard to solve it for once and for all, because once in a while it just appears for some monitors. I guess it depends on the monitor or on the computer setup. How do you use? Do you close your laptop, or do you keep it open? Do you use it as an external monitor, or do you mirror your screen to it? So I think it just reoccurs.
Without the external monitor.
Yeah, we will try. And by the way, yeah, speaking about the support and smaller support, so if your company is bigger, so I mean it's kind of requirement, because we are trying to establish like shared Slack channels with bigger customers, so that everybody from this customer can, I mean, literally ask also such a questions via Slack, and this is like simplifies feedback and support loop. It's much simpler than email, probably. I don't know who still uses email. Anybody? Yeah, everybody. Okay. So yeah, this is similar to programming languages. I invented new messenger, so now I have +1 messenger. So yeah, I think that the time is out, but yeah, let's exchange contacts if we agree. Yeah, thank you very much for